deck of the tournament and the only Warlock deck of the tournament.
There you go. And on the other side, on Trump's side, we have Add Fuel, Hipster, Mage, and what's yours is mine.
I really can't imagine what's in that priest deck.
I always forget that too whenever I'm on ladder. That's the worst part, especially whenever I'm playing a paladin. I got this awesome minion. It's a 9/9 taunt divine shield. Nope, I'm sorry.
No, it's not yours anymore. Nope. Give it to him.
Second most frustrating card. What's the first? Oh, what we were talking about before. When you summon 2/2/3 wolves with taunts, that's a shaman that makes me want to
You really think Feral Spirit is a nastier card than Mind Control right now?
Ooh, it depends because I've learned to play around Mind Control, but Feral Spirit just makes me want to rage and punch through my computer every time.
I don't completely blame you for that. I do have to say is that they're both pretty nasty. Now, I'm really intrigued to see if any of these decks actually work.
We'll get into deck list here in just a second, but there's a reason for John saying that. Of course, the decks that Husky has brought to the table are very interesting.
They're a little unusual for Mike, I've got to say.
Right.
Now, I've got to say, I don't think it's entirely unfair to say Mike may be the underdog in this match.
Possibly. I remember some of the players were sitting talking. They can't hear me anymore, so I'm just going to say this and I don't care. The players were sitting around before and everyone was like, what? You're playing Husky? What? Can't believe it.
Hey, first Warrior of the tournament coming out right here. And a bunch of stuff that you can't necessarily play yet, but that's okay. You can toss away his Arcanine Reaper, draw something else. Fiery Warrex is a great thing to have right now. He's got himself in a range, so, I mean, there's a possibility. You know, he can do that. Anything, if I'm going to say anything that you really want to get with a Warrior style, there's probably going to be a Fiery Warrex. It's absolutely fantastic card.
Especially because he can Fiery Warrex into the Dread Corsair right afterwards as well, if he can keep it up. Dread Corsair, of course, is a 4-mana 3/3 taunt that says that it costs 1 less for the attack of your weapon, so that means it would only cost 1 if he has that Fiery Warrex available.
There's some interesting stuff, I've got to say. There's a decent number of legendaries in this Warrior deck. He's sitting on Captain Greenskin and Drawback Hellscream in there as well. So that's some nasty stuff. He's got a lot of weapons and he's got a Leroy in there too.
Oh, absolutely. This deck can put out quite a bit of damage, and we'll see what he wants to do with it. Is he going to put out Fiery Warrex? Doesn't look like he's planning on it right now. Of course, because he can just wait until turn 3 and drop those at the same time, then he doesn't have to worry about things like acidic swamp oozes, which is exactly what Trump is sitting on to try and knock out those weapons.
It's going to need a hell of a lot more acidic swamp oozes to deal with Husky's deck. I can tell you that for a fact. There's a lot of weapons in there. It is missing a couple of gore holes, I've got to say, but there are 4 weapons in there, and there are 2 Arathi weapons in, so that basically means there's 6, and then there's upgrade, which is technically 7. So that's a lot of nonsense that could be thrown out of here.
All right, and he hasn't decided yet. He's taking a little while on this turn. He does run the Fiery Warrex. Oh no! Disaster! Because next turn, of course, we're going to see that acidic swamp ooze, and that makes me
and that Red Corsair combo I was hoping for has just melted away.
Oh, that is unfortunate. So now, Trump is basically sitting in as good a position as he possibly could.
It's okay, it's not bad. I think there's more weapons on the field. And he can, well, we've got Husky, he may decide to slam and welcome to the jam. We'll see if he decides to bother with that. But he may decide to just hang on to it. Honestly, getting rid of that swamp boost from the slam is probably not a terrible idea. What this kind of thing is followed up with, it just kind of resets the board. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Alright, he's going to take him out.
And fans of Trump may have heard of something called value. And Trump has a lot of value right now sitting inside of his hand. Between the Legendary Clerics, between the Novice Engineers drawing him cards, Azure Drakes, Keeper of the Grove as well, which is fantastic. And of course, a 440 will be able to have charge, or you can pump it up a little bit, a couple of health, and give it taunt. It's just a great all-around card.
He's actually going to play the Shadow Cleric without the buff here. And this is kind of Trump's rule. If you can play a powerful minion, you should play a powerful minion and not kind of hang on to stuff, because if you want to gain that board advantage, let's start to get that great tempo. Dread Corsair is going to trade evenly for that. It's not great. I'd maybe play the weaponsmith here, but even that's not going to swing properly. So you're still going to trade the 3 for 3 regardless, but it will leave you with a weapon. So that's a possibility too.
That's right. Now, unfortunately, of course, he did have Fiery Warrex available. Had he been able to combo that on turn 3 with the Dread Corsair, he would have a lot better.
Okay. So I'm trying to see what he could do here. He could use that inner rage, and
That is true.
Yeah, he can swing with that, use the inner rage on the Shattered Sun, and then burn that down, which just leaves him with a slight board advantage and a weapon in his hand, which is not too shabby. And that is exactly what we're going to see. And what does Shattered Sun clear before it's able to do anything? And that leaves it in the hands of Trump, who is sitting on nice little bit of card draw there before that. And obviously, if he gets a second swipe, he's got a wrap, so he's going to go for the 3 damage just to eliminate that immediately.
That's right. At least some a little bit of point there, of course. But there's a lot of high value cards that we can throw up here. And the nice part about what he has left, he's got plenty of removal, so
Lovely comes out. Lovely, look at that.
Another Dread Corsair, you can actually put both of those out at the same time.
Yep, he could use it, the other thing he can do is he can swing with that 2-1 weapon, he can then play his Arcanine Reaper and then return if he likes. Which is not too shabby, because then he gets 3 Dread Corsairs after that.
That's right. So he has a lot of opportunities here, but he's starting to run thin on cards, and of course he hasn't done any damage to Trump right now. And Trump loves playing those patient decks where he can sit back, gain card advantage.
There you go, and there you go, you get your 3 Dread Corsair. There we go. What better value could you ask for?
I love the fact that his low remaining card sitting around is Brawl, because when things just get too bad, you just throw out a Brawl.
Well, let's put it this way, the amount of draw in Husky's deck is not exactly what I would call high, so this is going to put him in a really awkward spot, because yes, you have 2, 3 taunts on the field, but Trump has approximately 5,000 cards, which means that he could quite literally drown the Pirates in cards, but we'll see what he decides to do. I mean, maybe you as your Drake at this stage, but then it ends up being that dies immediately to the Arcanine Reaper. So it's a nasty spot. It really is.
To be honest though, I don't think that's the worst play. I think he can do it. I think he can throw it out there and he can trade for it if he wants. He actually swipes, gets rid of one of those Dread Corsairs, and just passes the turn back.
Alright, well, I wonder if it seems like he's just trying to bait Husky into swinging the weapon at him, which is fine, because of course he's sitting on 30 health, he doesn't care right now. There's the attack coming in. Warsaw Commander is not really going to benefit him all that much. It's nice to have it, but ultimately it's going to sit there and it's potentially going to get silenced by the Keeper of the Grove, so he needs to watch out for that.
Now, of course, don't forget, with that Warsaw Commander, that's used in a lot of Warrior decks right now in an extreme combo sense. You'll see a lot of people that'll start putting out a lot of little minions with Wind Fury.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
Yeah, and then just pump up and do a ton of damage right away. You also have the possibility of Warsaw Commander to throw it out, have a lot of Sea Giants once your opponent throws things across the board. You get the Sea Giants out for free, you damage them a ton, throw it back with the Youthful Brewmaster, bring out another Sea Giant, and you can swing for 24 to 32 damage in a turn.
That you can. The problem with the Commander in this stage is that playing in a low card situation is not so great. And it's going to be immediately eliminated right there. He's going to try and take out the remaining minions, which he can do. And this is the problem. Husky's burned himself out. Like, he has used so many cards to do so little, and has left his opponent with a massive card advantage, and now he's relying on top deck luck. South Sea Captain comes out. Well, unfortunately, those 2 Dread Corsairs aren't there anymore, so that's not going to help you too much. He can play it, but ultimately, what has he got? He looked scary at the start, but this is kind of a typical problem with these kind of decks. If you don't have enough card draw, you burn your cards away, and then what do you do?
Well, apparently he's just reserved Brawl, because that's all he's got left right now. And Brawl alone is not going to cut. Of course, Brawl, of course, is a mana card. It destroys all minions except one. Chosen randomly.
At random, which can be very unpleasant or very hilarious. But
He grabbed the
hilarious. So,
that's fine. Sorry.
I don't play right now, but the thing is, he wants to try and play some lower cost, lower health minions to make sure that he doesn't get Arcanine Reaper immediately. So he's thinking about that. I have to wonder what he's going to go for. He's got 2 minions there, which will buff. He's of course going to keep the grow for the silence, but that's not going to really help him all that much. It will do a little bit of damage, which would maybe then allow him to hero power and kill that off. But we'll see. Starfire, interesting decision. Obviously, that's a lot of damage coming out. It does get him a hard
Yeah, okay.
Here's the thing, if he keeps bleeding Husky's creatures dry, blood cell right here. That's a top deck and a half. That's really, really nice to have. And he's going to be able to get a heavily buffed minion there. Shame he doesn't have his Warsaw Commander. So there you go, that's the 7-3 coming out here, Husky. He's going to finally swing with that Arcanine Reaper. Do a little bit of damage there, but the amount of cards that Trump has at this stage is just ridiculous.
That's right, and he throws out the Guardian Commander right now. He can take out, he can take out that Pirate, no problem at all. He retains it as well. Looks like he's going to throw out something that's give him a little bit more value than that. It's going to be another goal.
All right, well, let's see what gets top deck by Husky right here, because it's pretty damn important. He needs to draw something kind of fantastic, and that is not going to help in any way. Nope. Draw's not going to be that useful either. this is really bad. I'm gonna say it's a terrible situation for Michael.
I hope he plays like a man now. Throws out that acidic swamp boost, then lays down the brawl. Play the odds, RNG.
That's not a bad odds. You know, it's okay, I guess.
No, that's terrible. I don't recommend. Just a disclaimer: I don't recommend anyone do that ever in Hearthstone.
Just bear in mind that he's in a desperate situation, you know. So he may decide to do that, but like, oh god, Trump has so much on the field right now. Funnily enough, Husky actually has a health advantage, a significant one, but health doesn't really matter if you can't actually play anything.
No, absolutely not. Not with the board that Trump's going to develop here pretty soon. You can see how much he has available to him. He still has card draw. He still has things that can buff his active minions on the map. He's still even got removal protection in the form of the golem right now. So he is sitting pretty.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good. I don't think he has to worry too much. Another Argent Commander comes out here as well. I mean, now would be the time maybe when you start buffing things and just start to crack your opponent down. That Arcanine Reaper is still up though, so he's got to be a little bit careful about what he decides to buff because it can be eliminated quite quickly. You might want to decide to buff something that has Divine Shield. So he's only sitting on 9, so he can't do it this turn, but he could do it next turn.
Alright, well he was contemplating playing that Azure Drink there to draw a card, get a little spell power, and that's not going to happen for now. He has opportunity, and to be totally honest, at this point, he can pretty much play whatever he wants. He kind of not really going to matter.
He kind of can. I mean, it's to make it a little bit nicer to try and go for a brawl here, but even then, there's so many more cards in the hand of his opponent that brawling is not going to help him so much. Let's see what the top deck brings. And it is a Celsi Captain again. That's not going to help him at all.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, Arcanine Reaper can take out one of those minions right now, but none of those are really a good possibility for him at the moment. He's going to take damage one way or another, and Trump just keeps loading up his hand with cards and cards and cards.
If anything, I'd swing the Reaper at the Azure Drake just to get rid of that potential spell power there, considering that we do know that there are quite a few nasty cards that will deal direct spell damage within the deck of Trump. So that's probably the best move he's got there. Playing the Captain is, again, not that helpful because most of his pirates already died. So he's not going to be able to do much with it. And also sitting on that ooze isn't going to help either. But he's got to do something. He can't really sit around. I wonder if he will risk the brawl. It's a possibility. He's thinking about it.
Ooh, he had it there for a second. I just want to see a brawl played, honestly. Like, I don't care the circumstances under which it's played. I just want to watch brawl play.
Well, brawl is actually, it's not a guaranteed board clear with that Arcanine Reaper because it may leave the Harvest Golem alive and then the Arcanine Reaper swing won't kill it. But it's a 2-for-1 removal, just as a minimum. So it's not too bad. I know he wants to hold on to it, but he can't keep taking hits like that.
Yeah! 6
goes.
And the brawl comes out. Ladies and gentlemen, it is...
Oh, well, that could have gone better. Yeah, that's less than ideal. But hey, he gets rid of it anyway. He still leaves one of those golems out on the field. He man modes the ball, and he is left with 0 cards in his hand.
That's perfect. Wait, no, it's not.
Ideal position. He will never suspect anything. With 0 cards in the hand, nobody knows what's coming next. It's an element of surprise.
Oh, he has this game in hand. Actually, Trump has 7 cards now, and they all do a lot of damage.
He is going to horribly murder him.
And
this is going to be tough to pull out of, we're going to say.
Definitely. And Trump, of course, playing patiently. I love the respect he's giving to his opponent right now as well. Of course, he's going to move the board through very easily. Clear comes out, and he swings in for 3 damage.
All right, holy top deck, what do you bring? Mortal Strike. Okay, I mean, it gets rid of 1 minion. He can get rid of the 4/3 with that, but that's really about all he's got. And he's still relying on his top deck, which is not helpful because there's still 2 more minions on the field, even after this Mortal Strike actually goes off.
Alright, well 10 damage guaranteed coming through next turn. It looks like there could be a little more that's out there. Let's see, we got Bloodwings Downose. What else do we have sitting around? Dark Iron's Mark, which could provide a lot of additional damage. Now it looks like that Argent Commander is going to get knocked out, but of course that still does mean there are 2 minions on the board for Trump.
Alright, well Trump, as you said again, can do whatever he wants here. He can go a heavy buff, and he could just go direct damage. He could decide to get yet more cards just to rub it in the face of his opponent with that Ancient Allure there. He can heal himself, but I can't see him doing that anytime soon. And there comes his Dark Iron Sword. That's now 5 6, so there's your 8 guaranteed damage right there. He, of course, will also hero power for yet another damage. And I mean, I was wondering if he might play Thalmos actually, but he decides he doesn't want to do that. So let's see what Husky top decks at this point. He's going to need to top deck a Miracle at this stage to come back. And that is not going to be the Miracle. That's a Celsi deckhand without a weapon.
What? Celsi deckhand is awesome. But no, it's not in this situation.
Let me just say that I am not a believer in pirate decks so far. Honestly, looking at what he's got, it's not helping him that much. He hasn't got the right kind of pirate combos to make this work. Honestly, he's been really unlucky with his draws, I gotta say.
And it looks like there comes a well-played South Sea. Deccan goes out. He does end the turn. He's not going to concede. He's going to fight to the final man.
That shouldn't take long.
Yeah, pretty much right now.
Bam, 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 and then there is the GG.
All right, that is going to be game number 1 for Trump, ladies and gentlemen. He takes it, and we're going to see another deck out of Husky here in a second.
Warlock or Hunter? What do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. I want to see the Hunter deck, to be honest. It is one of those strong Hunter combo decks that does have a lot of... actually, we won't talk about it, actually. I won't reveal it until it's played.
All right. Warlock or Hunter? Let's see what he pulls out here. They're both going to be interesting because we haven't actually seen either of those classes today, so...
Hot stuff.
Gonna be the Warlock. All right. All right.
Okay, Warlock versus Druid decks again. This is a really nice deck from Trump. I like the fact that it has a lot of potential to be able to dance in between aggressive decks and control decks. It has a lot of power in the late game, but yet it does a very, very nice job, I have to say, of being able to defend any sort of early aggression.
Nice opening play there by Husky, actually. He's got a decent hand with him, and that's going to help him a decent amount. He did pull a Molten Giant initially, and needless to say, mulligan that, because that's not going to help him anytime soon. No, I mean, not the worst out there from Trump there, but he is limited on his earlier options.
You're absolutely right. He needs to basically just play slow for a little while, start getting some cards out there that have value. It looks like he's just going to end his turn. Of course, he wants to be able to use that coin for a quick 3-draw, potentially the Harvest Golem, but he does have other possibilities as well.
Alright, we're probably going to see, we could see another imp out here, or we're going to see a life tap. Playing the second imp maybe not the best idea right now. He may just decide to life tap to start to build that card advantage up. But the problem with having an imp and nothing but an imp is, the advantage of the imp is it buffs everything else. The disadvantage of the imp is that if you attack with it, it comes out of stealth, so you then just horribly murder it. He's going to play the ooze. Alright, obviously that's a fine play, because playing against a Druid, so it doesn't really matter that much. That's just going to get wrapped immediately though.
That's right, and the nice part about that for Trump too is that it allows him to be able to preserve his coin. He will be able to use that later on and continue to extend any sort of core presence that he would have. Looking back on Husky side of things, looks like we either have the potential to hero power out, draw a card, maybe throw a Voidwalker out there. He could certainly Flood Imp and Voidwalker at the same time, but I don't recommend it.
Yep, he's not going to do that. He's going to, let's see. I mean, I wouldn't Flood Imp right now necessarily. I'd probably go for the Torp, but he's going to play. Alright.
I mean, they are stealth, and that's going to prevent any sort of, I mean, not to say that Trump would have gone for anything right away in terms of swipe or something like that, had there been the
good turn 3 there for Trump, actually. Goes for the 2-3. That's absolutely fantastic. And Soul, not going to help too much, so he could go Defender of Argus, but the problem with doing that is that it actually overrides the stealth.
That's right.
That's not too helpful.
Well, and
okay though, I mean, at least with 2-2-3 minions, it's not bad.
No, I mean, I guess it's all right, but I mean, card draw plus a Voidwalker right now would probably do just about as much, and you're going to be able to, I mean, it's not like the Harvest Golem can get through it, especially because that Voidwalker is going to be sitting at 5 health.
Pretty much, yep, it's rather irritating, isn't it? It takes a while to get through that kind of early Warlock stuff, which sort of delays your opponent quite nicely in the early game. Allows you to get some of the more powerful, nasty stuff out later on. Alright, well, we're going to see card draw there. He's surely going to play the Voidwalker.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely going to do that. So he's going to be a little bit careful with his positioning next. If he wants to defend with Argus, he's going to watch out where he puts that. So he's going to put it on the end, which I like.
Okay, now we're taking it back to Trump's side. He has another Harvest Golem available to him if he wants. I don't see an ability to be able to get through that Voidwalker right now. No, not even with everything that's available to us.
He can silence it, but again, you're silencing a taunt, which is never really the best of ideas. So you generally don't want to do that. He's going to just go for the bluff instead, try to hammer his way through there, then just leave it. So we'll see what Husky brings up. He's got a Farseer in there, which is going to be decently helpful to him. Shadow Ball comes out, that's nice. So yeah, I mean, you can do something with that, certainly. It's not going to immediately eliminate that, but it's not too shabby for him. Other options, he doesn't have that many of them.
I kind of like the thought of the Earthen Ring there, restoring 3 health, drawing another card. Of course, that's going to take it down a little bit. Yes, Trump is going to have the potential to get through that Voidwalker next time, but it delays another 6 damage and gives him a little bit more card draw. I like this.
Well, let's see what he does. He's drawing another one right there. Does he want to remove or does he want to heal? Let's find out.
Farseer or the Shadow Bolt? Farseer or the Shadow Bolt? He's not decided yet. He's taking his time. And it is, ladies and gentlemen,
any time now.
something. Please, for the love of God.
Kevin, I think he's going to play a card.
I hope he plays a card. If he doesn't play a card, I'm walking off the stage.
You're not on the stage. Are you going to get on the stage and then walk off the stage?
Yeah, of course. That's the best way to
It seems like an awful lot of effort for Husky. I'm not sure that's okay.
All right, still nothing has been played yet. He's considering his possibilities. Earthling Farseer would be my play. I'd throw it on there, buff the Voidwalker back up,
Yeah,
and that is what he's going to do.
All right, so that's fine. It takes him up to that 1-5. So that's a pretty good position to be in there. It's just going to keep that alive for a while. It's not going to do any damage, but it's going to keep those creatures off him for just a little while longer. All right, Ancient Hall brought up here, so could go Sylvanas Windrunner, maybe, but do you really want to do that right now when there's nothing particularly juicy on the field? Perhaps not. Azure Drake is a good option, I think. That's okay.
Yep. I definitely agree with you on that one. Just getting cards, and the best part about it too is, of course, it is a 4/4 body. Nothing that's sitting out there for Husky right now can take that out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very true. He can use his two creatures there to hammer their way through that Voidwalk to get rid of that taunt.
I apologize, he could Shadow Bolt it. I forgot that he had that sitting.
Yeah, that is true. Alright, so he's going to go for that, and he is going to play Sylvanas. Alright, so Legendary comes out 5/5. When that dies, it mind controls a random creature from the other side of the board, which right now there's not that many crazy creatures, but it does kind of prevent you from doing that. An Abomination is brought out. That is not what he was really looking for, because the Abomination has the unfortunate side effect of killing all of his imps.
That's absolutely right. Now, imps also do have a secondary use. They can be used as a body to take down small minions if you want to be able to give up their buff. Most people, of course, will just keep them around as long as humanly as possible.
He might. I mean, I'm thinking, well, does he Siphon Soul here, honestly, to eliminate that? I mean, he's still going to get a creature, but he's not going to get anything terrifying.
Right, and you could use your own creature to be able to do some damage first. The Farseer just be able to take something else out just to make sure if it gets taken, it's not going to be that big of a deal necessarily. He has possibilities, but once again, he's taking his sweet, sweet time.
He needs to be careful. The other possibility, of course, is Shadow Bolt and then trade. He could trade one of the imps, so he could trade the Farseer there and that, so that only one of the imps gets grabbed. Basically, he has to play around this death rattle right now. The possibility of that mind control. How is he going to do that? Because if he doesn't, we're going to see very efficient trades coming out here from that 5/5. It's going to start knocking creatures over.
Okay, no move has been made yet. There we go. Siphon Soul destroys a minion, restores 3 health. And the
What is
next
she
chosen is a blood.
Alright, cool. Gets a blood in. Well, I mean, it's a nice card for Trump to have. Admittedly, he wasn't thinking he was going to get that, and that's probably going to sit there the rest of the game. Admittedly, there's a Shadow Flame in that hand, so it's probably going to get killed sooner rather than later. Definitely. We'll see. Alright, so immediately we see the trade over there. So, board-wise, things are relatively even at this point. There's certainly a hell of a lot of a better situation here for Husky than yesterday, and then the last game that we saw.
I definitely agree. It looks like the coin is going to come out. We have an Azure Drake, and that's going to be followed up by, possibly an Elves Engineer, but it looks like it's going to be hero power just to take out the 3 walls.
Absolutely. Why would he do that?
Exactly, and slam back in for 3 damage.
Alright, nice and easy. So, he's looking in a really good spot right now. That blood is a nice thing for Trump for Husky to have, but ultimately Trump has massive board control right now. How overwhelming is maybe not what we were looking for here. The other possibility now is that he might decide to go for that Abomination, since he doesn't have much on the field to worry about.
That's definitely true. That's actually not a bad play right here. Then just absorb a little bit more damage, draw another card, and just kind of wait for things to shake out.
Oh man, that Blood Imp is now infuriating, because otherwise that Shadow Ball would have been traded for the Azure Drake straight up, but it can't happen anymore because the Blood Imp got stolen by Sylvanas. So Trump is in a pretty good spot. I don't hate the Abomination play, it's pretty good, because that gets rid of the Imp almost guaranteed, and it most likely, it trades 2 for 1 basically. It doesn't really hurt you too much. It does kill his own Blood Imp, which is a little irritating, but it's not the worst thing you can do right now.
No, especially at this stage of the game. And of course, as his death, or as his life ticks down a little bit by a little bit, he will be like it is going to be draw a card, and
he gets a Mortal Coil out of it. That's not really going to help him too much right now. And he's going to go for the Shadow Ball, which is going to take that down to 1, and then he's going to Mortal Coil out for a little bit more card draw. You see, the thing that Husky's managed to do this time around is actually have cards. It's a very good advantage.
yes. When you don't have cards and you can't play anything or impact the board, usually it's a good indicator that you're going to lose.
I'm a little surprised that Husky decided to skip that turn. He could have thrown down a Voidwalker as well there, but of course that was just going to get murdered pretty quickly, admittedly, but good about it. Alright, there we go. Ancient of War comes out for a 2-card draw here for Trump. And now he very, very slowly beats the Warlock down. And then we hop over immediately. Pretty much a fast-paced game for both of these. A Voodoo Doctor. Not really what he's looking for there. I mean, it does mean he gets a little bit more health on the board, but it's not the most helpful thing in the world. He doesn't actually really want more health right now because he wants to be able to play on Molten Giant. But let's see what he does. I'm still not hating the Abomination, but ultimately that Ancient of Law could be a real pain.
Okay, well, nothing has dropped out quite yet. We're talking about the Ancient of War there. There are possibilities to deal with that right now. Some combination of Power Overwhelming Defender of Argus and then throwing a couple other minions up there.
Well, it's got the Shadow Flame and the Power Overwhelming combo.
Right.
The problem is, can he actually use it on anything, and will it be a good trade, ultimately?
All right, well, hasn't decided to use it quite yet. Husky has been taking his time, but he has possibilities now. He's actually got quite a few options to be able to deal with this. The problem is that back on Trump's side, Trump has slowly been accumulating a lot of removal that he hasn't necessarily had to use yet.
No,
he's got Starfires. Yeah, he's got Starfires available. He's going to have more card draw available. He's going to be able to trade very favorably. So,
Hodge is coming out. There we go. That's the Abomination, and we'll see what he does with that Power Overwhelming, assuming he wants to use it at all. Bear in mind, that is a 4/5, so it's pretty good, but ultimately he wants to get rid of that Ancient of War, and honestly, I feel that we should be able to see a good removal there by Trump. Look at what Trump actually has in his hand to get rid of that. He's sitting on 2 Starfires, which pretty much pops that immediately and results in 1 casualty on the side of Trump, and it also ends up killing the Imp on Husky's side. So this Abomination is probably going to bite him in the arse.
yeah, it could very well do that. There is also another possibility. There's a Keeper of the Grove sitting around. We could actually see a silence come out.
Maybe. It still leaves a 4/5 on the field, though.
That's true, but he can trade with it right away and actually retain all of his cards on the field and not even have to proc the Harvest Golem either.
Yeah, I feel though that he would get an awful lot more damage out of it if he just Starfire.
Very true.
He gets with the Starfire, that's the 2 damage off that, which keeps the Harvest Golem alive at 3/1, and that means he then suddenly swings for 8.
Yep.
And there we go. Starfire, that's going to pop that. It's also going to pop that bottom that he hasn't been able to get rid of. That was absolutely fine. So that puts that back down to there, and then he does 8 damage, and now he's in a dominating position. Well, at least Molten Giant's coming out, but unfortunately Molten Giants don't have Taunt. Thankfully, he does have a Defender of Argus, so he may be able to pull this off.
That's right, he's going to have 2 very, very, very large minions on the battlefield with that Defender of Argus behind it as well. And then he has the option to even put some more cards out there, too, if he so desires. It looks like we are going to see Molten Giant 1.
Double Molten Giants, Defender of Argus play.
Hooray! Those are
Come on,
taunt.
please, come on, you know you want to. No, you don't want any of the other. No,
you have to give them taunt.
Give them taunt, because otherwise you're horribly dead. Come on, don't blow it up. Not now. Defender of Argus.
No!
You know you want
Defender of
to.
Argus.
Come on, everyone wants 299 taunt.
Argus! Nothing yet. Still considered.
Right now, Voodoo Doctor is an ideal play. No, we need it. Defender of Argus.
There's the Defender of Argus.
299 taunts. There we go. Now things start to get a little bit interesting. So he does have a decent amount of heal. He's got his Voodoo Doctor and his other ring Farseer. So he's going to be able to heal himself up just a little bit. That's going to keep him alive for a while. What is the removal looking like? So,
well, let's see. We got a Starfire. We've got some silence.
just at 9/9, so you don't get rid of those anytime soon.
Yeah, no, not going to happen.
Wasn't expecting that. So this is going to be very interesting indeed. Please don't Demon Fire the Giant. It's not a real demon.
I hope he doesn't. All right. Oh, close.
And that's not a terrible decision, and it's okay.
Okay. I mean, I like it. I do. I mean, it did clear the board. There's still another golem that's sitting out there. Restores the
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's see what he does to that 9/9. So he can nuke it down, but it's going to take him 2 cards to get rid of it. He's got a Starfire and he's got a Wrath, and then he would see,
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have enough trade, unfortunately, to be able to do a really quick Dark Iron Dwarf plus a Starfire or something like that to knock it out pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
That would have been the best play, but we're not at 10 mana yet.
No, we are not. So that's not going to actually happen. It's not a terrible position for Husky, honestly. It's certainly a lot better than it was last game. But still, I feel that Trump could probably figure this out. Trump's doing the maths in his head right now. He's got a lot of cards, which actually makes it a bit difficult for him because obviously he's got a lot of possibilities and only limited time to actually use them.
All right, what is he going to choose? He hasn't hovered over any cards yet. He's actually sitting back, clasping his hands right now.
He's thinking.
He's in deep consideration, deep contemplation, trying to see what's available.
He's potentially deep something else as well if he doesn't do something good here.
Absolutely right. And he does have a full grip of cards, it appears, as well. So it's not like he wants to go into crazy card draw too much at the moment. He does just want to be able to deal with that Molten Giant with a decent bit of value. But right now, the options are not too obvious.
There's not that much value you can do with this. You know, this is not a rogue that has an assassinate. This is not a mage that has a polymorph. This is a druid. They have a direct removal spell that gives your opponent cards.
That's right.
It's not what you want to do right now. So, and it doesn't have a naturalize in the deck anyway, so it's irrelevant. I mean, anything he does to get rid of that 9/9 is inefficient right now. Ultimately, though, does it actually matter? That's like it was the ace in the hole, really, for Husky there. He's got a Starfire. That's going to take it down to 4. Oh, he pulls a swipe. That is not a bad thing indeed, but he can't play it because he's not at 10 money.
That's a really good card for next turn, unfortunately, for him. And it looks like he is just going to Wrath right away, so he doesn't want to deal with the Molten Giant for when it means necessary.
Yeah, he wanted better than that. That was like 2 cards plus a minion to get rid of the Molten Giant, but he is a big scary creature, so it leaves a slight advantage here in the favor of Husky. So finally, we get to watch and see what Husky comes up with.
And right now, he's got a little bit of taunt at his disposal, a little bit of life gain back for him, a Mortal Coil I just saw popped out there.
That's not going to help too
gonna
much. No, not really. You know, I think at this point, he can go for the Demon Fire and the Mortal Coil. It gets him a card, but it's still 2 cards for 1 on something that's not that powerful, which might not be the best idea. He does need to heal himself up a little bit if he's not careful, but consider, both Starfires have been used here by Trump. A lot of the kind of direct damage that might have been able to knock him out on low health actually isn't there anymore. It's had to have been used elsewhere. And there's not that much more in that deck that he hasn't used already.
Yeah, it looks like he is going to restore a little bit of health with that Farseer.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he doesn't want to card draw right now. He doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage. Are we going to see some sort of a taunt plus Demon Fire combo here in a second? That's a possibility. It gives him decent support. But he's still going to have to deal with a lot of aggressive options.
Yeah. The main problem with that Demon Fire combo is there's a Keeper of the Grove sitting in Trump's hand. And usually, again, the rule is you generally don't silence a taunt, but maybe you silence a 2/2 Demon Fire taunt.
Yeah, and he's going to have 10 mana available, so not only can he do that, but then he can also play the Archer Commander at the same time.
I love that. Nice play, actually, by Mike. He decides, oh, the Druid has a hand of 10, he's probably going to silence of some sort. Let's not burn that Demon Fire when I know I can't attack with it. He could use it next turn for either removal or guaranteed damage.
Alright, so Swipe doesn't really do much for Trump right now. He has a few more options. Of course, there are no weapons out there, so Acidic Swamp Boost is just a 3/2 body. Azure Drake draws from a card, but that doesn't really impact the board. Archer Commander gets in there and takes out the Voidwalker, but that's it.
Right. Time to swipe, so that's going to be 1 card removed. There, minimum there. Keeper of the Grove comes out from Moonfire, which takes out another. Down it goes, and Acidic Swamp Boost being played as well. And, well, suddenly Trump swings right back in here. And ultimately, if Husky's not able to get big threats on the board, and I'm going to say Voodoo Doctor is not a big threat, then he's going to be in some fairly serious trouble right now.
Well, it'll certainly get him some health back, and it keeps him alive for just a little bit longer, but you're absolutely right. It's not the card he needed right now.
Yeah, not really.
So available for them he could have drawn into, but
he can Demon Fire to get rid of at least 1 card right there, but it's still not ideal. He's lacking any kind of big threats, and his big threats is 2 Molten Giants got eliminated without too much done, really.
Right. Okay, well, considering what here, we do have the Demon Fire. It looks like he was considering using it just to get that 2 damage in.
Yeah, he was thinking about it. And it's not the worst idea ever, honestly, because it still leaves his 1/2 up instead of basically then sacking it for no real reason.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a possibility. The other possibility would have been that he could have buffed that up with these Mortal Coils and then keep it growth, but it still means that would end up dying next turn, but it would ultimately trade pretty well. Yeah, that's certainly, there's a bunch of options he's got here, but none of them are particularly amazing.
I mean, Voodoo Doctor plus his hero power gives him basically 3 mana. He gets a 2/1 body and a card right now. That's not the worst thing in the world. I think he does need some options. Mortal Coil actually going out there.
That's Demon Fire going out there to eliminate that 2/2 there, so that's okay. It leaves that taunt up, but it doesn't really leave a way to do that unless you want a power overwhelming. He could heal it, which would actually mean that it survives a swing. He decides not to do that. All right, let's see if he does it again.
And this time, it sticks. No, maybe.
You can't heal yourself. Voodoo Doctor.
There it goes.
Unfortunately, Voodoo Doctor's not a real doctor, and he doesn't have a medical license, so he doesn't really know what he's doing. So there we go. The heal finally ends up going off there on the Voidwalker, which is nice because it means that the Keeper of the Grove doesn't get through him immediately. But we're also going to bear in mind that's a Druid who's going to be able to just smack his way through there with his hero power, no problem. All right, what's he got? What hasn't he got? He's got a lot.
Yeah, he does. We've been sitting over and looking at my screen for a while here, he actually opted not to use his hero power, take the 2 damage and draw a card.
He's pretty low on health, it's risky.
That's right, and he would only had about 5 mana available to him at that time. So there are possibilities here for Trump. I mean, it looks like he's actually just going to Zora Drake, draw a card, give him spell power, of course, and he's just going to load up the board.
So now he can go with the 1/1 that takes that up to a 3/5, which just knocks that on its arse immediately. Leaves him with a board if he wants to, but he doesn't even need to. He's going to go right in with the straight up hero power, and now he has full board control, and Husky is left at a card disadvantage, a health disadvantage, a board disadvantage, a possible mental faculties disadvantage.
Shadow Bolt there will at least take out one of those minions, as the Azure Drake could get punished there. But unfortunately for him, of course, it's going to mean that he has a completely empty board. At this stage, it's almost a necessity to use his hero power, unfortunately, even though that probably does mean his demise.
Yeah, that Mortal Coil is sitting there taunting him, saying, look at how useless I am at this point. I can't do anything. And this is ugly, this is really ugly. Shadowbolt's going to remove that, yeah, absolutely. Get rid of the 4/4, especially in a deck that's got a lot of spells. Absolutely. You have to tap, you have to. But then you put yourself in a very risky spot. Can we see kill damage? We will see kill damage because there's an Argent Commander in the hand. So if he taps, he's dead. If he doesn't tap, he's probably also dead.
Yeah, all we need is 1 more damage on top of that Argent Commander, and he does have a claw field for his hero power.
That's it. That is it. And demolished. I gotta say, it took a little longer this time. That Warlock deck did fairly well.
Yeah, I go back to that decision with the Giants there. He had one presence there. That was certainly a turning point for him. I don't know if I would have initially sacked one just to clear the board right there, especially because the Harvest Golem was still out. But despite that, Mike did play a very, very good game, and we're going to move into game number 3 here momentarily, which means that we are going to see from Husky, Beast Creek.
It's going to have to be a hell of a lot more than the Beast Creek. It's going to have to be something really special to come back in this position. And Trump's really happy about this because that means he doesn't have to show any more decks if he goes 3-0 here. He's going to join Artosis in the prestigious position of not having really tipped his hand too much. And that's going to give him an edge in the round of 4. So we'll see. All right, it is the Hunter deck, Beast Creek, versus the Hipster Mage deck, that being Trump's Druid. And the polls are not too shabby at all. The Blood Mage Thanos and Loot Hornet early off there. Not too bad. And Beasts are plenty. 2 explosive traps. That might be a few too many. A Scavenging Hyena in the opening hand, always very nice. And a Bloodfed Raptor.
That's right, and this is one of those beast combo decks that we see a lot on ladder as well. This has a number of very cheap beasts. We're talking about Timberwolves, Young Dragonhawks, Direwolf Alphas, Bloodfed Raptors, as you see up there. And then he can take those and use it on Unleash the Hounds, which of course gives his beast all +1 and charge. So they're already getting buffed anyway from the Timberwolves. They can get a buff from the Unleash the Hounds, and you can do a significant amount of damage on whatever turn you decide to pop the combo.
Ultimately, I'm still a little bit worried about this Hunter deck setup because it does rely, especially early game, on a lot of very small stuff that can be removed by Druid removal. It can be killed off by swipe quite easily. And of course, you've got to watch later game and things like Starfall. So, alright, well, let's see what he's done. He's got Unleash the Hounds. That's not too bad, but he only has 1 beast in his hand. So, we'll see if he's able to pull out another.
I was a little surprised he got rid of the Bloodfed Raptor. I mean, it's not exactly an impactful card right now, but it is a good beast.
It's too hard to play, though. Right. You know, when you've got the coin, you want to consider that because you can basically play two cost minions one turn after another from turn 1, which is really nice. Loot Hoarder is going to be the initial play. Absolutely fantastic card to start with.
All right, Loot Hoarder, of course, a 2/1 Death Rattle. Draw a card, and Trump does love his card advantage. What did he actually end up drawing into? Looks like that's Sylvanas Windrunner he has available to him. Steady Shot just comes out from our Hunter, and of course just does 2 damage for 2 mana.
He can't play anything ultimately at that point. Anything he plays including Scavenging Hyena just dies immediately, and that gives a nice board advantage and tempo advantage really here to Trump as he pushes forward. Trump, stop ruining the garden. What the hell's wrong with you?
Let's see here.
Trump's Radish Micro is something to be desired, I've got to say here.
It's the first time we've seen 400 APM Hearthstone.
That's very impressive. Unfortunately, it's not going to help him too much, but he doesn't really need help right now. Alright, a kill command. Not what you really want to be using right now. Absolutely not. That's a terrible card to play. He's limited on options. I mean, he could go for an explosive trap, but that's still only going to kill one thing, and it's going to give a card. Explosive shot is not an option right now. Wouldn't kill command anything on the board either. He could go and Unleash the Hounds with that Scavenging Hyena, which would give it a little bit of a bonus. Or alternatively, just sit there and get mauled. That would work.
Well, you know, honestly, with the 100 combo decks, you can take a little bit of damage. I mean, it is fine for you to go down to 5 or 6 damage if you know that you're accumulating the correct pieces. turn 7, 8, something like that, you can drop down a bunch and clear the board completely or push through for a bunch. But
ultimately,
doesn't
you need that early board control if you want to set the combos up, and he doesn't have it right now. It's firmly in the favor of Trump, which means that any kind of combo he tries to set up, it's going to be immediately destroyed. And Trump knows that. He knows what he's up against here. All right, so 2 creatures on the board. Chillwind Yeti available on turn 4. I mean, this couldn't really be any better for Trump.
Yeah, I mean, looks like for the coin we could see explosive shot come out here. That's not going to be
Notice how much of a sneaky bastard Trump actually is. Like, if you look at the positioning right there, he decides not to put his Chillwind Yeti in the middle, meaning that an explosive shot would actually do minimized damage this time around. So that was a really, really nice play. Considering there's 2 explosive shots in his hand, that's not ideal. All right, Young Dragon Hawk combo. It's not something that everyone uses because ultimately the problem with Wind Fury creatures is they often have fairly low health, which means that they might not be able to get those 2 hits off, and you don't get the preferential trades with it. He will unleash the house. He doesn't actually kill anything with that he wouldn't have already been able to kill on its own. So that's not necessarily ideal. He could play that and go into Scavenging Hyena and unleash the hounds, which would give him a 4-3 Hyena, but that still leaves the Yeti on the field, which trades preferentially for that.
He could also Young Dragon Hawk and play Kill Command and just take out the Yeti completely.
He could.
But I mean, his options are still a little bit limited right now. He could throw something a little bit better out there. It looks like it's just going to be an explosive shot and a little bit of damage.
Don't necessarily like that. That's only going to kill one thing, and it's also going to give a card to Trump, so that's even worse. And there's also Dark Iron Dwarf that just came out as well. He pretty much knows what that is. It's very, very common. He's thinking about it. He's like, yeah, should I go for this? And he should. He should. You know, he should batter that down. But he's thinking about other possibilities at this stage. I would then, of course, do something like Dark Iron. Well, I mean, either really. You can Dark Iron the Yeti, but some people argue putting too many eggs in one basket there. But even then, if that gets silenced or removed or whatever, it's going to be pretty hard to deal with.
Okay, well, let's see. I mean, you could just try and bounce ahead with damage, as you mentioned before. There's not really a lot out there, though, that would do too much more. I mean, the Windrunner is fine. You could attack with the Loot Hoarder then, and then proxy explosive.
All right, he's going for it. He finds the explosive trap. Okay, yeah, which is fine. He doesn't care. He gets a card out of that as well. So that gives him more options. Much better to do that. Gets an Archer Commander for next turn. Always nice to have. Could go Sylvanas, as you said, or he could Dark Iron on this turn, but he is Dark Ironing a kind of a wounded creature, which might not be ideal. So he's got a
Oh wait, yeah, he's actually pretty smart right now because explosive shot could actually take that out, and if there are no minions on board, the death rattle would actually be negated.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. All right, so there's 2 explosive shots going up. We might end up seeing that anyway from him, just because he needs to get rid of the Sylvanas. And actually, this is going to be a nice move for Husky. Usually I'd say, oh, explosive trap only killing one thing, but as you said, you're negating the death rattle, so maybe that's actually worth it. But even then, it still leaves board control in the hands of Trump.
That's right, and he's still going to come back through with a minimum of 6 damage next turn. Of course, with his hero power at 7, he could throw out Archer Commander. He could just, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. Dark Iron Dwarf and use his hero power is probably the most likely play, but he's got damage, and Husky doesn't really have a way to respond to it right now.
Alright, well, I still think that explosive trap to take out Sylvanas is not a bad play, but again, it does leave like 6 damage on the board, which is not necessarily ideal. So, you could actually, I mean, you could remove 2 creatures, but one is just going to come back anyway, so that's not even going to help that much. He's thinking about it. There's a possible Unleash the Hounds play with a charging creature of some sort, but he doesn't really have anything heavy on the creatures, so he's actually going to the middle there, and, you know, don't necessarily agree with that.
No, I mean, he's going to have Kill Command available here. Kill Command with Sylvanas down next turn without putting anything on board. But as soon as he puts something on board, of course, the death rattle kicks in that we were talking about
He could
before.
coin Arcane Shot to get rid of that 2-1, but even then, that still leaves that Sylvanas available, and that's not nice.
All right, well, it's a Loot Hoarder that came out. As we mentioned before, it could just be something like a Dark Iron Dwarf buffing this up, doing a little bit more damage, and then just using some hero power and retaining a little bit of the cards in his deck right now. But honestly, he's got options. He can do about whatever he wants. Starfire, draw a card, get more damage in. Loot Hoarder plus Dark Iron Dwarf, just use the power. Pretty much everything works.
Yeah. That would be an interesting time to claw, actually. He's just going to go rush down damage on his opponent. Usually you'd keep claw for removal, but right now there's nothing on the board, so just beat the crap out of him. He's a turn away. He's not dead yet, but he's very close to being. I would have said there's a 2-spell combo which will end him, but he doesn't quite have the mana for it next turn. But ultimately, it's probably not going to matter because it's very unlikely that Husky can actually remove all that stuff. Let's see what I can do. So he could now go for a second explosive shot, which would actually, it wouldn't wipe the board, but he could follow up with an arcane shot to remove that Sylvanas. That would kind of reset things, but it still leaves Trump in a really good position.
Yeah, because even if he kill commands right now and he's not able to protect the board with the commander coming in, he's still going to be dead. There's just really not a lot of options, unfortunately. He's in a pretty bad spot. He has some pieces of the combo that is necessary to get off here in the bench, but he has no board presence or ability to place any of those down. Trump will just wipe him right out.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. I'm wondering if it's possible to even play anything with Unleash the Hounds, but with that Sylvanas there, you've got to get rid of that first point and think about it. Last thing you want to do is give him yet more firepower. He's got to think about cleaning that board out, and it's going to... I still think... I don't know about this. Alright, okay. We're going to see an Unleash the Hounds play here with a Scavenging Hyena. So he could actually coin Arcane Shot as well if he wants to.
Yeah, and I think he probably should.
He's going to put a lot of cards here. He's going to need to get a lot of board control back. Like, he's got to kill everything. If he doesn't kill everything, he's guaranteed dead next turn.
Well, and he can do it too, to be totally honest. I mean, if he coins and throws the Unleash the Hounds and the Arcane Shot out there, the Raptor will be able to strike him, then take out Sylvanas. He can clear the rest of the board, and he's going to be left with a massive Hyena. I don't know if that'll be enough.
Otherwise, he's going to give a card to his opponent. He has to clear the entire board. Why I was suggesting get rid of that Sylvanas before you do anything of the sort. Here comes the charge. Alright, so he's going to be able to grab something for free here. He needs to be a little bit careful with what he lets him have. But even then, I honestly think he's dead anyway. Because what happens next turn is that Sylvanas grabs a creature, and then that creature has enough damage to kill him alongside Starfire. We're going to see a 3-0, unfortunately.
Alright, well, looks like Husky's trying to swing home right now, and unfortunately he has to trade against that Loot Hoarder or the Sylvanas here in a second. He's going to lose a minion, or he's going to give his opponent a card. Either way, it's not going to be able to give him the board that he needs, and unfortunately...
There's no question about it. He is horribly doomed right now. There's nothing he can do. The only option was to clear the whole board out. He wasn't able to do it, which means that with even 1 minion on the board, he's going to just get killed by Starfire and then just splat it. So he's hanging in there as best he can. You know, Husky not a man accustomed to being on stage, so he wants as much limelight as he can get, but unfortunately I feel he's going to die anyway.
And in his day of the sun,
what a shame that would be, yes.
Alright guys, well, we're going to see a last ditch attempt here. I think Husky's doing the math in his head right now. I think he understands that unfortunately there is no way to win this game, or there's no way to clear the board right now and ensure that Sylvanas isn't going to be able to do anything else. Card is drawn.
That's a great kind donation right there. The rather ridiculously buffed now 7-4, actually 5-3 Hyena, there you go. Right, well, that's just it, you know, there's no question about that. There's the finisher, 3-0 right there for Trump as he takes Husky out quite nicely.
Right, we are just 3 more players, and we know we're advancing into the semifinals. They are Redfall and
well, there you go, that Razor sponsorship obviously paying off there. Helping off an awful lot against a deadly opponent like Husky. To go up on stage and see if we can talk to at least one of them.
And guys, just a reminder for everyone who is starting to crowd around, thank you very much for watching the Innkeepers Invitational here at BlizzCon 2013. We of course have 8 players that we have invited here. They are going to be duking it out over the course of this event. We're doing the round of 8 today. We have 1 more match to go, and then tomorrow at 10 a.m. on the Hearthstone/World of Warcraft stage, we're going to be playing out the semifinals and the finals, and I hope you guys will join us for that. I saw 2 thumbs up, guy. Yeah, you're going to be there.
So before we interview Trump, I want to ask Husky just one question here. You know, how are you going to apologize to all the fans that came out here and watched you horribly lose over the course of 3 matches?
You know, I did warn them a lot on Twitter, so if they didn't check Twitter, it's their own fault. But I will say I'm honored to be, he's going to win, so I'm honored to be the first step to his victory. So really, I'm helping him out. I feel like I'm doing him a favor.
Is it because he's a sponsored player and you aren't?
I definitely don't think Razor's going to be sponsoring me after this, but you know, if they want to call me up for number 2 best player, that's fine. Totally fine.
Fantastic. So we will see you coming back to the next Invitational with some more interesting deck designs, right?
Yeah, I apparently was the only shaman and there's only 2 warriors, I think, and the only hunter, so...
Just to point out that you didn't actually have a shaman on your roster.
Yeah, sorry. Hunter, you know what's up.
Warlock.
Really they're basically the same guys, so Warlock got away.
I'm going to ask, have you played Hearthstone before today?
No, very first time. I didn't know what it was until I got on stage, so that's fine.
Did you find the experience disappointing, or?
No, I loved it. I was super excited, and it's hilarious because this homie over here streams a lot, and he has tons of viewers, and every fandom person I met, they're like, oh, who are you playing against? I was like, oh, Trump, and they're like, all right, well, we'll see you after you lose.
They're reasonable people. Mike, thanks for being a good sport.
Come here, you. Wait,
Why are we doing pictures? All right.
This is for Twitter. This is over here. Wait, down there. Oh, come here.
Eventually, we'll actually get to interview the person that won this game, but we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Husky, get off the stage. And the winner of that match going to the round of 4 to the World of Warcraft stage tomorrow will, of course, be Trump. So, how did Razor help you prepare for this matchup?
Well, you know, it was really easy playing with the mouse, and I play Hearthstone a lot better with the Razor mouse.
Do you feel the additional APM helps your Hearthstone play?
It really helped, and it helps when clicking the thing on the farm. Did you notice that I made one of the pumpkins really small? I usually do that easier with the Razor mouse.
That's good to know. Do you feel that was critical to your victory today?
It was pretty cool. Style points, yeah.
So you got to be pretty happy that you were able to use a Druid deck to make your way through your opponent, not show any of the other decks for tomorrow. Do you have any surprises in store?
Yeah, the two decks are even stronger than that. Ooh.
I've got to ask, do you feel that you made your pilgrimage to Value Town today?
Oh, absolutely. You know what? BlizzCon is... I should create the town over here, because BlizzCon, that's where Value Town should be next to.
There you go, trying to steal land from the glorious Republic of California. I'm not sure that'll go so well for you. So, how are you feeling about your next opponent after that just blood, sweat, and tears of a match there?
Wow. Well, I watched and I took notes. Artosis has a really, really strong deck, and it's going to be a tough match.
All right, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Trump. He will be joining us in the round of 4 on the stage over at the World of Warcraft area. We have one more match on this stage before we wrap up today's Hearthstone festivities. It is going to be Crip versus Hafu.